to my channel. My name's Morgan, and today I have some super cute Christmas ornaments for you. All of these ornaments can be made from stuff that you probably already have in your pantry. And even if you don't have the supplies, they're super budget friendly to buy at your local grocery store. Plus, they're all super fun to make with your kids, your family, your friends. It's pretty much just like making Christmas cookies, but they go on your tree. Okay guys, we're gonna be making some super easy, beautiful baking soda ornaments. So I found this recipe off of Pinterest. I'll link the recipe below as well as the site where I got it from. You're gonna need 1 cup of baking soda, and half a cup of cornstarch. Oh, got baking soda in my mouth. Okay, put it in there. And then 3/4 cup of water. Okay, and then we're gonna whisk it all together, and then we are going to heat it up over medium heat on the stove. If you guys can find a silicone whisk like this one, your life will be forever changed. First of all, it doesn't scratch your pots and pans when you whisk, which is awesome. It totally saves your pots and pans. And then second, it's completely dishwasher safe. So you can just throw it in the dishwasher when you're done. You don't have to worry about hand washing it. I know that there are a lot of silicone whisks out there that are silicone on this part, but then the handle is wood. So you still have to hand wash it because of the wood part. This one's completely silicone, completely dishwasher safe. So I turn my stove to medium heat, then just continually whisk the mixture until it starts to form a dough. It happens very quickly. 1 minute you're stirring a very liquidy mixture, and then all of a sudden the mixture turns to Play-Doh. As soon as it all starts sticking together, turn off your stove and remove the dough from heat. You've got to let the dough cool down before working with it, so I put my dough on a plate and left it for about half an hour. Once it was cooled, I rolled out my dough so it was about 1/4 inch thick, and then cut out my ornaments using different sized circle cookie cutters. You can then take your excess dough and roll it out again to make more ornaments, and then just keep doing that over and over until you run out of dough. Once all my circles were cut out, I used these cute little letter stamps to write out Christmas words. I mostly use adjectives from Christmas songs like calm, bright, and joy. These can also be used for gift tags on presents, so a couple of mine say mom and dad as well as others. I also had some floral stamps that I used instead of words on some ornaments, but those ones just didn't show up very well on camera. I then used a straw to make a hole in each one. Once you have them all stamped, you can do one of 2 things. I just let mine dry overnight. In the morning, I flip them over and let them dry for the rest of the day. Or you can bake them in the oven at 175 degrees for an hour, flipping them halfway through. If you do this method with the oven, just keep an eye on them to make sure they aren't browning or burning. I was so sad because my ornaments all cracked on me. I made these last year and they turned out perfect, so I made a second batch thinking that maybe I made my first batch too thin and pressed down too hard on my stamps. So I fixed those problems in the second batch, and it did help a little, but I still had some cracking. My guess is that the air here is just too dry, and I must have baked them last year, so I may try a third batch and see if the oven method works better for me, but we'll see. So I'm just going off of a recipe that I found on Pinterest. I'll link the Pinterest page down below so you can go check that out as well if you want. We're just gonna measure out 1 cup of applesauce and 1 1/4 cups of cinnamon. Just mix it together and that's our dough. Okay, so 1 cup of applesauce is about 2 1/2 of these little containers of applesauce. So just for your reference, or if you have one of the big ones, I mean, whatever you got. This is gonna make your house smell amazing. Directions say to use a stand mixer. That would probably be easier, but Brooks is having a really hard time sleeping lately, and I just got him to bed, and I'm not about to wake him up with a mixer. So I'm just gonna mix this by hand. Once the cinnamon and applesauce are all mixed together, you can roll it out right away. This dough is a lot stickier than the baking soda dough, so it's a little bit harder to work with. You can pop the dough in the fridge for an hour and that will make it easier to work with. You could also sprinkle some cinnamon on the bottom and top of your dough to make it less sticky. These things aren't really necessary, they just make your life a little bit easier. And then I did pretty much the exact same thing as the baking soda ornaments. I just rolled my dough to a 1/4 inch thickness and then cut out the shapes I wanted and stamped them. But for these ones, I did get out my Christmas cookie cutters and cut out snowflakes and angels as well. After all my ornaments were cut out and stamped, I again used a straw to punch a hole in the top of each ornament. These ones you do have to bake in the oven at 200 degrees for 2 hours. And then your house will smell like cinnamon for days. This next one is the easiest ornament but has such a beautiful impact. Just simply cut a few oranges into a 1/4 inch thick slices. Err on the side of thinner because if they're too thick they'll take forever to dry out. Once you cut your oranges, use a paper towel to pat each slice dry to remove as much juice as possible. Then bake your orange slices at 200 degrees for an hour and a half. Once that's done, flip each orange slice over and pop it back in the oven for another hour and a half. I put 2 trays in the oven at once, but I did notice that my oranges on the bottom were burning a bit, so just be aware of that. If you bake the oranges and the cinnamon ornaments around the same time, your house will smell like an orange cinnamon roll. It made me so hungry and disappointed the next morning when I could smell orange rolls, but I couldn't eat them. So here's what the orange slices look like dried. You can tell that they're dry by touching the middle part. If it's a little bit sticky, then it's still not dry enough. But honestly, you don't have to worry too much because if you just put them on your tree or in a garland or whatever, they're gonna dry out over the next couple days anyway. So as long as they're mostly dried from the oven, I think you're good. Here's an up-close view on the other ornaments that are done. The white ones did still end up being cracked, but overall I think all of the ornaments turned out beautifully. To hang the orange slice ornaments, I grabbed a yarn needle and some yarn, and then I just used that to thread the yarn through the orange slices and then just tied it in a double knot. The other ornaments are a lot simpler because we already have a hole in them. Just put the yarn straight through the ornaments, you don't need a needle or anything, and just tie a knot and you're done. Love making Christmas ornaments every year. I think it's just a fun little tradition that I get to do. Let me know if you guys have ever made any of these ornaments below or what you guys made for your tree this year. Did you guys DIY anything for your tree this year? I want to know in those comments. Let me know. If you did enjoy this video, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. And also, I would love if you guys subscribed. It would be so much fun to have you back here with me DIYing every week. I'll link my other Christmas DIY video on the page for you, so you can go check that out if you missed it. It's also very budget friendly. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.